and welcome to Black Cats Chat, the international fans podcast for Sunderland AFC. My name is Lee, I'm from the Bilbao Black Cats, and tonight we're back with another review show to review our 0-0 draw against Brighton and Hove Albion on Saturday. To join me today, we've got an SAFC NASA takeover again. We've got Gavin Freighter. Gavin is in Tampa, he's in Florida, but he's originally from the northeast of England, County Durham. Gav, how are you, mate? You all right?
Not too bad, mate. Cheers for having us.
Good. Are you all ready for Christmas?
No, don't celebrate it. It's a load of rubbish.
Bollocks. I saw your post today, mate, asking for Christmas lights.
Oh, it's only because I got a really cool Wizard of Oz Christmas ornament. I have a fascination with Wizard of Oz lore.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, then. So you're not in the whole American celebration thing with, like, decorating your house, putting, like, massive inflatables in your garden?
I've got 2 inflatables going up tomorrow. I've only just put the trees up today, and that's only because the wife's on her way back from Miami.
Are they pink flamingos, or what are they? Yeah.
I have two pink Christmas flamingos for the wife as well.
Perfect. That's Florida for you.
Jesus Christ. And this is someone who says he doesn't celebrate Christmas.
I know, my wife's a Catholic.
Jesus.
I don't celebrate.
Jesus Christ, Gav. You're making me look like Scrooge, what I've got in my house. Bloody hell.
There'll be neat gifts for me this year.
Anyway,
Dav's not known as the Grinch, is he?
Don't know, Gav, are you the Grinch?
Could be.
Could be.
In
right, well,
disguise.
that other voice you might recognise, it's better than he deserves. It's Pete Shawler, originally from Chesley Street, but now he's in Washington State. Pete, are you feeling better than you deserve?
I really am, actually, Lee. You know, I have to follow, you know, I'm acting as though I'm in Bilbao right now, so I'm having a glass of wine with my lunch. As we chat, and I'll probably have a siesta later, you know.
Aye, well, good man.
I was watching the Forest game, and then I was watching the Napoli game. I had them both on split screen. So it's nice to have footy on around, but it's disappointing. A lot of games are not on Boxing Day anymore.
Yep. Well, at least in the Premier League. I mean, I don't know. I think in the other leagues they are, aren't they? In the Championship and all that, are they on the?
Yeah, Championship has a full schedule. It's just the Premier League that only has one.
Well, that's kind of sad, but I'll watch some Champions League. I'll watch some Championship games.
Yeah, well, then again, like they have put like New Year's Day, Man City, 8:00 at night, and there's no public transport, and I'm going to go to that somehow. So anyway, never mind.
Wait, but it's Sunderland. It's not like you need a lot of public transport. It's not that far to go.
Well, I mean, when you live in County Durham, mate, Willington, it's like you can't get buses. You got to drive, and you can't have a drink. So I mean, see, that'll pay like 60, 70 quid for a taxi.
There's got to be a supporters bus heading in.
Possibly.
Willington's out in the sticks.
Yeah, I might have to get the Crook and Willington supporters bus. I might have to get that.
There you go.
Anyway, but I wanted to make a day of it. You know what I mean? Get there early, but like the supporters bus leaves about 3 hours before kickoff, I think, and gets there about 2 hours before kickoff. So
I think I've been in America too long because I just get a hotel room for the night and get rat-assed.
Ah, yeah, but all those hotel rooms now are they fully booked, aren't they? Because Man City fans are staying over, probably.
All I'm hearing is excuses, man. I got to be honest.
Anyway, listen, lads, we're here to talk about the Brighton match. Gav, 0-0 draw. I mean, I think we would have taken that before the match point, especially like when the fixtures came out and we saw how December was looking. Yeah, we've actually fared quite well so far, haven't we?
You know what? I was just saying on the NASA chat earlier over the weekend, if you told me in August that would be 6th coming into Christmas, I probably would have had you locked up with Sean. The way they've played this season, I think I can only think of 2 poor games, which would be Burnley and Man City, where we just didn't show up at all. Outside of that,
I would say Fulham as well was a poor game, wasn't it?
I think Fulham were just on their thing that day. I don't think that we could have done much more than that. But no, I think we've been excellent this season. I think you look at the 13, 14 players that we brought in, and for the majority of them, they've done their bit. They've done what they're supposed to do. Obviously, hearing Masawaka's out and won't be back. But other than that, couldn't be happier with the way we are at the moment.
Yep. No, and Pete, I mean, the big question was who was going to replace those 4 players that we've lost from the starting 11. which was Reynaldo, Siddiqui, Talbi, and Traore, and that was the starting lineup. If you can see my screen, that was the starting lineup on Saturday. Was that what you expected, or was there a couple of surprises in there?
I was surprised Gertrude was into midfield, but it worked. I mean, I've got to be honest. He wasn't mentioned a lot, but he got the job done. I think, with Gertrude, I think he's a little slower on the acceleration. So sometimes when they were getting the shots off from the top of the box, just outside the top of the box, I don't think he was closing down as quick as Siddiqui would. But who does? I mean, bloody hell, he covers 70% of the. He covers everything that the Ocean doesn't cover. Him and Xhaka. So between those two and Lefebvre, but Gertrude, I thought surprised me. I wouldn't have thought about putting him into that position. I think Riggy just looks. He was pushed off the ball a little too. He's just got to get used to this level and the physicality of it. He needs to learn from Brobby and get in the weights room with Brobby, to be honest.
Yeah. No, a good point on Gertrude there, because, there has been talk for some time that, Gertrude will just fit in there because he can play in the midfield. He'll fit in there come AFCON, and he didn't look out of place, did he, Gav?
No,
he really didn't. But you gotta feel kind of bad for Dan Neil. I mean, Kid Captain goes to the Premier League. You would have thought that just dropping him in next to Xhaka, given that Brighton are a really good side, but they're not a Liverpool or a Man United, I don't even say Man United, or a Man City or an Arsenal. I thought it would have been a really good opportunity to give Dan Neil some minutes, and he's got to be wondering what he's going to do to get on the pitch at the moment.
Well, I think, isn't it a combination of factors, isn't it? The fact that he won't sign the contract, and I think just Lebris just doesn't fancy him, doesn't think that he's...
I'd have to say, if it's down to him not wanting to sign an extended contract, then what you put him in the match squad for?
Yeah, there is that. But, again, there are other players in the match day. I mean, we saw this with Lebris last season, didn't we? Like the likes of Alexic, Brown, Hjelde. They hardly got any game time, did they? Not really.
I mean, Hjelde still shouldn't get any game time, but that's another thing. But no, I mean, look, Dan Neil was instrumental in us getting promoted. Now, whether it is down to the fact that he won't sign a new contract, I'd heard rumours from our favourite Jody Markham that he'd been giving it the big I am the summer before, and saying the only reason he stayed at Sunderland was because they gave him the captaincy. Whether there's any truth in that or not, I'm not sure. You never know with Shawnee. But if they're not planning on playing him, I just say leave him out, put him in the reserves. I mean, the rumours are he's going to either West Brom or Leicester on loan in January.
Yeah,
but doesn't that look worse? Though doesn't that look worse if you just leave him out with the match day squad?
Why?
Doesn't that look worse if you leave him out the match day squad and just put him in the reserves? Isn't that a worse look? At least he's including the match day squad and he's got a chance of playing.
That's like inviting me to a brothel but telling me I can't go in the main room.
Yeah.
With his pink flamingos.
Yeah.
And a tutu. Yeah. But no, but I don't know, Pete, what do you think? I mean, do you think Gav's got a point? I think
he has a great point. But if need came, just say Xhaka got, another yellow card and they didn't want to sit him out, whatever, or Xhaka and Gertrude got injured, you need somebody to slot in there. I've no doubt Alderete could step up into that role. And then, when he's not suspended, you've got O'Neill. But I've got to be honest, and I'd agree with Gav, is that you've got to put I'd put Dan Neil ahead of O'Neill in the centre mid position.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the writing's on the wall for him, sadly. If he goes on loan to West Brom or Leicester, they're getting a good one. And if we need him, we can recall him. But it's tough. I mean, we need that cover because who else slots into those roles? And I don't really know if he does have anyone else to cover in that role too deep if O'Nine's suspended. and he's put 9 ahead of. Do you know what I mean? I agree with that. It's tough because give him a run and find out. It's like Riggy, like you've got to get them into that role and see what they produce. Mm-hmm. And if they don't produce in 4 or 5 parts of games, then you know the fact. But if you don't give them a chance, you'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like I was talking to the lady today. The Powerball is like almost to $2 billion here. And I was chatting to the lady when I was buying my tickets this morning, and I said, "Did you get your tickets yet?" She goes, "No." I said, "Well, you got to be in it to win it, So you got to give these lads a chance because they did get us where we're at. Tommy Watson came on. I don't know if you're going to talk about me, so sorry if I get ahead of this, but he didn't do much. But he's not getting much game time there either.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Gav, well, I mean, we've talked about Dan Neil there, but I mean, couldn't the same case be argued for Mayenda and Rig because they haven't seen much game time this season, have they not either? I mean, Mayenda at the start of the season.
Mayenda puzzles me because he came in, he scored at the beginning of the season, and it looked as though he was going to be rocking and rolling. And then I think naturally you see Lebris seems to want to rotate those 2 guys and give them both game time. And then Isidore went on a bit of a few games where he'd scored. So it's a tough one. I mean, I like the look of Bobby. He holds the ball up really well. Doesn't really seem to have much of any speed. I think his turning circle is about the same as mine. But well, as long as we continue winning, I don't care who plays. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it's like Lebris said, Pete, isn't it? That like the players who are not playing are disappointed, but then again, with the position we're in, can they really argue?
Well, one, they can't argue. 2, if they're not disappointed, then they shouldn't be in the squad. You know what I mean? I saw a thing, I've got that connection with Simon, our 3rd string goalkeeper now. He's still there, and the lads in training were saying like his attitude is spectacular. Now he knows he's 3rd string. I mean, hopefully we don't need to go beyond roughs, but he knows his role and he accepts that. Yeah, he's a little older. He's been around some of the championship teams, but if you're a 3rd string keeper, you've got less chance than almost any outfield player they're playing. You know what I mean? So they've bought into what the plan is, and they're supported. So and Dan Neil's never come out and said he's unhappy, which is very professional. So I think everyone's bought in. I just think it's tough when we're doing so well.
Yeah, well, I mean, Gav, like one player who is getting a look in after his injury is Romain Mundle. I mean, is it just because Lebris fancies him, or do you think it's because of attitude, application? I mean,
look, we don't see what goes on at training, and that's one thing I've always been happy about. So clearly Mundle's doing something in training that's got him in ahead of the other guys in that position. He was lights out at the back end of last season, so I mean he deserves to be able to get that run in. Whether he's going to get in ahead of Talby and the fellow on the right hand side, Diarra, was it?
Traore,
that's it. Whether he's going to get in ahead of those 2 when they're back is another question. But look, it seems as though it's going to be his position to lose over the Christmas period, and some good performances will see him maybe cement his position.
Yeah. I mean, Pete, I was happy to kind of see Riggy back in the team and also Adingra because I think they are very good players. But doesn't it kind of show Lebris's preferred style of playing that he is very conservative? He won't take risk, will he not? Because he won't play with 2 out-and-out wingers, will he not? He'll always have one out-and-out winger, and on the other side he's got a wide midfield player rather than a winger, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and he always has one that tucks in. But, I mean, on that same point, I know Lefay had a free roll, but his work rate is phenomenal. They talk about Xhaka covering, and I think his stats show that he has covered more ground than any other player in Premier League. Lefay's got to be right behind him. I know Sadiqi's not far behind. But you're right. I think he doesn't want to get exposed on those wide, and I think Mundle doesn't defend anywhere near. In fact, if you play Lefay out on the left, which we did early on the season, Lefay gets back so well, Mundle doesn't. If you notice that, he doesn't get back as quickly. So I think it makes us a bit more vulnerable. But what I'm impressed with is, we've lost 6 players to AFCON, and everybody was like, how are we going to be? We would have given an arm and a leg to go down to Brighton and take a point on the road with 6 of those players, 4 starters, missing. And I just think it's testament to Labrie and what the culture he's creating and what Shaq is creating. I talked to Danny Collins the other day through social media, and God, he sees them out at the training ground, and he said that intensity just comes through all the time. It's fantastic to see.
Yeah, Gav, you want it in or not?
No, I was just saying. I forgot what I was just saying. That's what happens when you hit 50.
That's because I talk a lot.
No, I was saying that when with the Brighton result, if you'd offered me a point at the beginning of the season, you'll go to Brighton with a full strength squad and you'll get a point and you'll come away and you'll be happy with that, I'd have been okay. So whether we have 6 or 7 missing from AFCON or whether it was a full strength, it's still a good result.
Yeah, I thought for the first half at least, we looked as if we weren't missing any of those players, did we not? Because we played very well, didn't we? Pete,
we did. We didn't skip a beat, and I think that shows the depth and the quality. And a lot of the commentators, even watching the pre-game show for this Notts Forest Fulham game, they were talking about the league placements, and everybody said they were shocked, but they're not, because Labrie's got such a following now. And Thierry Henry the other day over in the States here, we have the pre-game coverage, midweek games and what have you. He just speaks very, very eloquently about Labrie. There's the French connection, I understand that, but everyone's calling the professor or the scientist. Over here they are anyway. It's testament to him, and he looks unflappable. But that, obviously we saw what happened against Newcastle and how ecstatic he was. But he was a bit more animated on Saturday or Sunday, and he was just way more into the game than we've seen, instead of the arms crossed. But he's got the players bought in. That's the key point, Lee. He's got this culture. He's brought the players in to back that culture up. And Jacques is just demanding it of every player. 6th place. I'm not Gav. It's like 6th place. What?
Yeah.
Going into Christmas, point, it's incredible.
I know. On that point, Gav, 6th place. I read Regis, I heard Regis's post-match interview, and he said, listen, for 65, 70 minutes, we were in control. And then the last 20, 25 minutes, we started to get under pressure a little bit. So obviously we didn't score in that period, or we did have a few chances. The Alderete header, Mundle had a shot as well. But I saw on social media some fans were saying Labrie cost us that game. He backed off. He could have brought Mayenda on and gone for the win. Brighton were vulnerable, but I just think that we didn't have the quality on the bench and the legs on the pitch to maintain that intensity. I don't think. And I think that what Labrie did was correct.
This is where I become public enemy number 1 for Sunderland fans, because some of our fans are the ultimate shitehawks out there. You see them on Twitter every single day. Doesn't matter how well we're doing, they're always complaining. They'll pick on one player. I think that the confidence level in some fans is getting so high that they're now expecting us just to turn over established Premier League players, and they're being hypercritical when we don't. Look, against Brighton, for the most part, we looked toothless. We looked like we had a new striker playing in an unfamiliar role with players he doesn't normally link up with. But that wasn't the story of the game. The story of the game was, can you get anything away from a tricky Brighton team who have been at the top end of the Premier League now for 5-6 seasons? So Sunderland fans annoy me. because they're so quick to jump on the. I mean, they're not as bad as Newcastle fans, far from it, but they'll jump on the slightest mistake and then call a player a donkey. Like Luke O'Nien getting sent off. Yeah, look, he was off the pace of the game, and there was no real malice in his challenge. But the fact that he was late meant his stud was up in the air after the ball had gone. He took out the play, and look, in modern football, that's a red card. It wasn't intentional. There was no malice in it. But the amount of tweets that I saw, like, oh, hopefully that's the last time we see him in a red and white shirt. Should knock him back to League One where he belongs. And this is from his own fans.
And they're quick to forget about what he's done for the club.
I mean, look, I'm not concerned about what he's done for the club. He's done exactly what he's been paid for. I'm not one of those ones who gets overly emotional about Mr. Sunderland this and I saved the dog from drowning that and I'll piggyback and kiss players. Like, yeah, I like characters, but for me, he's done exactly what he's been paid to do over the last 7 years. The fact that we've been in such a transition over the last 7 years and he's been one of the few constants is testament to just how well he's improved as a player. And I definitely hope to see him improve further in the season and get more outings. But fans, and I think it's more of a generational thing. I think the toxicity comes from the lack of any worry about getting punched in the face. When I was a kid going to matches and I was a young lad, if I had opinions, they were said in front of other people. And if you had a stupid opinion or an offensive opinion, you had a good chance of getting punched. I've been punched a few times for my Sunderland opinions. But these kids these days, they're on their phone. They've got no real identity outside of their Twitter thing. And their Twitter or their Instagram can be whatever they want it to be. And so I think fans, especially younger fans, are so much more critical. I don't think there's anything to be critical about in this season's performances. Yeah. Even our off-day performances are still better than anything we did in League One.
Just a question on those punches, Gav. Did your jaws withstand the pressure, unlike Jake Paul?
I'd like to say I've got a better jaw than Jake Paul. I remember being in Idols one night after a Luton Town Cup game, and I worked with a Luton Town fan. He worked down in Boreham Wood, and I laughed at him as I walked into Idols, and he jumped over 4 people and punched me square in the nose. And I was like, damn, where'd that come from?
Idols is notorious for that, though.
Anyway, Pete, well, on this topic of some players getting criticism, I mean, I saw that Simone Adingra was getting criticism, but I thought he actually played all right. I thought he hasn't played for a while, but he wanted the ball constantly. He got the ball, but every time he drove forward, I thought he was kind of left on his own by our fullback. Like Huma's left back, he wasn't really getting up to support him as much as possibly Reynaldo would be. And I felt that he was either 1 against 2 defenders or 3 defenders, and he didn't have any support, so he had to play it back or try and create something himself. And I thought that it was nice to see him get on the ball, but I just felt that our fullback could have helped him a bit more.
Well, it's a bit like the perfect storm, isn't it? So Talby would be out there and we'd have Reynaldo behind him. You've now got a new player in there and you've got Hume switching sides to the left who always wants to cut inside. So he doesn't naturally overlap on the left-hand side. I agree with you. He was demanding the ball. He was in a lot of space. But they actually give him a lot more room than I was expecting. And I think that's because he hasn't been playing. He's confident on the ball, but he didn't have many, like you say. And I think Gab mentioned it earlier. Robbie comes deep for the ball and holds it really, really well. How strong is that lad? He's like a bull. But he doesn't have that pace, and he turns like the Titanic, which is a bit quicker than Gav. And he gets in behind, but Robbie doesn't do that. So we're expecting Lefay and we're expecting our right winger to get in there and be that person. And in fact, our best chances came from the backs.
Yeah.
We're not surprised that headers from our 2 centre backs are giving us good chances, but Lefay and even Xhaka was getting into the box more than Robbie probably was. So it's a tough one. Rig was demanding the ball, but as I mentioned earlier, I think he was just physically pushed off the ball a little easier than we would have had we had other players in those positions. But he's got to learn that. He'll get stronger and physically. But I just think we're missing that out-and-out goal scorer. And I love Isidore didn't do much when he came on. Robbie is strong and connects players, but we're still missing that true goal scorer right now, in my opinion.
Well, I think, like, Gav, there's more to come from Robbie, certainly. I mean, there has to be.
There is, but let me just jump back on the Adringa.
Go on then.
Remember where we signed him from?
Yeah, from them. Yeah.
Brighton and Hove Albion will know his game inside and out and will know exactly how to defend against it. So the fact that it was his first game back as a starter in a while, and the fact that it was against his old club, I think that speaks volumes for it. I also think that he had nobody to get, like, I know you talk about Hume not coming in deep for him and coming for the ball, but there was no real outlet in the box either.
Yeah.
So I definitely think there were issues that need to be addressed for Leeds, because they're a team on a high at the moment. But yeah, for me, I agree. I agree. We need an out and out striker, but there aren't many of those around. It's starting to look like missing out on Calvert-Lewin was a bit of a mistake, but we can't take everybody that Leeds wanted last season.
I mean, to me, it would be obvious to put Adingra on the right because he seems more comfortable cutting on his left foot, and it's similar to Traore. I just think that I would put him on the right because he's got Mukiele, who would basically bomb past him if need be, and Mukiele can get up and down the pitch quite well. And I don't know, I'd put like someone like Lefebvre back on the left because Lefebvre is that kind of wide midfielder rather than a winger who will get up and down, and then just like put Chris Rigg in the middle with Xhaka and Trauner. I think, like, because obviously he doesn't want both wingers bombing up and he doesn't want both fullbacks bombing up. He only wants one side, one winger bombing up, and then he wants the other fullback going up beyond. So I think that it would make more sense to play Adingra on the right. I don't know if you agree with that, Pete.
Hey, you look at Patrick Roberts, he's tearing up at Birmingham. Okay, it's a level below, but what he was great at was playing on the right, cutting in on the left. It's a bit predictable, but both Roberts and Adingra can play with both feet. They're not they're predominantly left-footed, but it creates problems. But it's a problem we don't normally have when we have that full squad available. And we've talked about this over the last few weeks, Lee. Traore has surprised me because he started slowly, but he's really stepped up his game. Then he goes off to AFCON. So it's nice to hear AFCON's only going to be every 4 years in the future. But to answer your question, I think he would be very useful on the right, cutting in on the left, in our current squad with the lads we have available against Leeds. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you remember his goal, the goal that he set up against West Ham on the first game of the season, the cross that he put in for Ballard on the right hand side, he was. I can't remember if he put it in with his left or his right, but he was on that side. So I think he does prefer that side, and Talby does prefer the left. Mundt prefers the left. So I would just like play him on that side if he's more comfortable. Yeah,
I would too. I just think we lose something with Lefebvre out there. I mean, his work rate is phenomenal. I have just been more and more impressed with him. But if you give Lefebvre the free role, he's more effective for us. I think if you slide him out left.
But is he though? Is he creating enough? I mean, Gav made the point before that we look kind of toothless. I mean, is he kind of? He's got the energy, but is he doing enough?
Well, he is. I just don't think there's anyone to find him. There's nobody in the box when he get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like our wingers are too quick for our forward. You know, even Isidore. I mean, Mayenda, you could argue differently because at the beginning of the season, his pace causes problems. But for some reason, he's down the pecking order. So I don't know. But a point away at Brighton, we would have snapped your hand off at the beginning of the season for that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially with losing all those players. So it's hard to argue. Because it was a very positive performance. at least 70% of the game we were in,
Well,
it's a
yeah. The Gav, I mean, I want to talk about our centre backs because they showed like an image of Ballard and Alderete like standing next to each other, and I was just thinking that's like two proper brick shit houses, but they can actually play football as well. And I think that we're very lucky to have a centre back right foot, left foot pairing like them because they are performing very well.
I've been impressed, not surprised, but impressed at Dan Ballard this season more than anybody else. I think the question for over Dan Ballard when we brought so many players in is he going to get a look in? And I think he has taken the Premier League on as well as any player has. I think Hume as well has been outstanding. I thought Hume would be getting booked every other game at the beginning of the season, and he'd be the one in disciplinary problems. But Ballard has been phenomenal, and it doesn't matter whether you're putting Mukiel next to him or whether you're putting
Gertruda
or whoever. It doesn't matter. Or Alderete, that's the guy I can think of. He's been outstanding. I mean, there's so far. I mean, I think Xhaka's a lazy kind of call for player of the season so far, but for me, it's Roofs or Ballard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the great thing is, the thing that's allowed Roofs to be so effective this season is that it doesn't matter whether it's Alderete, Ballard, Mukiel, or whoever's been in those central defensive two. They've been so solid that it's given Roofs the confidence to be able to do what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, Pete, a back four of Mukiele, Ballard, Alderete, and Reynaldo. There can't be too many better than that in the Premier League.
No, and it's funny, the Newcastle game and the game before that, I forget who it is off the top of my head. The analysts over here in the US were talking about Alderete and Ballard just move as a pair, and they seem to have this like invisible string. Like being a coach, that's what we kind of talk to the back four. One attacks. You're talking about this in the midfield, eh? One attacks, everyone pivots round. And I used to actually attach my Division 1 women's soccer players with a string. So when that player went, they had to shift round. It kind of it was a bit old school. I saw Sam Allardyce do that once. And I think I saw Sean Dyche do it at a session I was at back in the day. That those two just move, and then you put those other two around them. They just pivot and switch, but the gap doesn't. And the commentators were on about this because it's so noticeable, and they're like, nobody's getting through that. I know teams do, but God, having those four in front of Roofs, and he is so competent. You know, that save he made with his chest was just phenomenal because that ball moves like the commentators over here, Lee, were talking about. That ball moved like, and he knew, and he got his whole body and his arms, and that's quality. And I think that back four and him, and I agree with Gav, like Ballard right now would be the number one player. You know, everyone's talking about Xhaka because it's a big influence on the team, but Ballard on the pitch, it's hard to argue.
All right. No, I would agree with that as well. And you mentioned the training drill there. As long as you didn't get like a bag of nettles and like Howard Wilkinson-esque and say, grasp the nettle.
So speaking about that training drill, it reminds me a lot of watching the Chicago Bulls under Phil Jackson. They had the triangle offense, and so they always had an outlet for a pass, and they always had an outlet for a move. But then the two players who weren't in that triangle would pivot around. So you always had your guy on the ball, and you're seeing players pivot around at speed. I mean, they did it to an extent last season, but obviously not being as good a player as we have now, it's a lot more noticeable. I'm no longer worried about the ball going back to the goalkeeper and him studying it 6 yards ahead of himself and putting themselves at risk. As good a shot stopper as Patterson is, he's awful with his feet. Yeah, look, it's. I'm not.
Well, Alderete got Paraguayan Player of the Year yesterday, and I just think he's so understated. we know he's not, but any team that comes across us, he's just like Mr. Reliable. Him and Ballard are just Mr. Reliable. You know, it's they do what it says on the tin.
Mm-hmm.
And but they both add. Have you seen how far forward both of them get? One sits, Alderweireld slide forward, and he's got a couple of assists now, at least one anyway. And Ballard's got the goal because that's confidence in your back. And then knowing Xhaka or Siddiqui, when we have them, are just going to sit in there and cover for you. I think Labrise is just off the charts good.
I think it was Joe Hart on Match of the Day on Saturday night was doing the analysis, and he said that what he liked about them was that Ballard and Alderweireld, they were never too far apart from each other. They were always quite close. He said that's quite key.
I'm going to ask for my string back.
Get changing for a bag of nettles. Right, listen, lads, we're almost out of time. We've got a minute left, so a very quick prediction for Sunday against Leeds. Gav, you can go first, mate.
It's going to be a tough one. Leeds are on a really good run of form right now. I think we'll nick it by a goal. I'll go 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the same form as us in the last 5, 2 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat. Pete?
I'll go 2-1 us. I think Calvin Lewis will get 1 for them. But he's going to be a handful for our centre-backs.
Yeah. Well, I did say yesterday on SAFC Fan TV that we win 2-1, but I'm hinting towards more of a 1-0. And I think Dan Ballard's going to keep out Calvert-Lewin. He's kept out Isaac. He's kept out Haaland. He's kept out Voltemade, although Voltemade did score on his own goal. Hey.
I really hope that he gets that December goal of the month.
It's unanimous from our branch, mate. Our Bilbao Black Cats branch has decided already that it's the goal of the month. So, anyway, lads, listen, thanks for coming on, and I'll speak to you again soon. Merry Christmas. Have a good one, lads. How are the lads?
Seasonal felicitations to everybody. How are the lads?